Hello everybody and welcome to this new video. And today is a very special moment because I'm going to do something that I have been dreaming about for a very long time, and is building my very first 19-inch rack unit with some nice outboard gear. I always been loving like outboard gear for like recording, because I think recording stuff in the way you think it should sound really speeds off your process, because it isn't like you record something and then you get like multiple options afterwards and get stuck in mixing. It's just deciding, is this sound I want? Yes, and then you can seek for the next thing about how that will sound. But 19-inch gear, well, you have to rack it up because else it's get messy, and it's already getting pretty messy over there. So I want to fix that. So I went over to like Thomann and ordered some nice rack gear, and in this video I'm going to show you how to put everything together. So let's go on a journey today. And in full disclosure, this video is not sponsored by anybody, so I bought this all for my own gear. But if Thomann or Wavebone would like to work with me in the future, well, they're always free to contact me. But having said that, if you like this video, then please give a thumbs up below and click subscribe if you want to see more of my content in the future about building studios, studio gear, etc. All nice kinds of stuff. And if you really like me, then you can also go to my website and buy one of my guides, or get the guide for musical creativity 100% free if you subscribe to my website. So now let's get back into building everything. Now, an important thing before you start building, if you are a little bit like me, or let's say somebody who thinks that he can do stuff but he's actually a little bit clumsy, and yes, I know I am. But when I see stuff like this, I'm like, well, I think I can handle this. And then you start building and you're like, well, probably it would have been better if I would have checked the building manual. So I'm doing that now. I've got it on camera, so now I can start building my 19-inch rack by looking at the manual. Now the first thing I have to do is put on the little casters on the side plates. So let's start with doing that. So now I have to start assembling the plates, and this is always the tricky part in my humble opinion. First do the base plate and then do base plate C. And where will the world be without the good old faithful M6 bolt and, of course, an Allen key. This is always the tricky part. So the unit, so the rack has been built. I think so. The rack has been built, and I think it looks really nice, especially with like this wooden top plate. Yeah, it may be silly, but a little bit of wood beside all the metal in your studio always looks really great. And it's just a nice extra touch to have. A few pieces of advice when you are buying your first rack unit. First of all, buy one that is larger than you might think you might need. Because a lot of time when you buy your first rack unit, you just buy for the units you have. But we all know your studio will always grow, so buy something larger. Unless, of course, you don't have any space. And the second thing, of the advantage of having like a larger unit than the gear that you have, you can leave some gaps between all your gear. So especially when you got like tube gear and stuff, you have got room for it to cool down and to ventilate with air. So it's always nice to have like a larger unit than the gear you have. And now it's time to open up the second box with some extra spare parts and one really important thing. And what would it be? First of all, some extra covering plates, spare bolts, and over here the central power unit, because I think it's really convenient to have just like one power switch for everything in the rack. And also another idea I have is since you got like a nice space in the main hall, sometimes I just want to be able to quickly disconnect my rack unit, roll it out there so we can do recording stuff over there. So having a central power unit is really convenient. So let's put this in first. And now it's time to install one of the center pieces of every studio, the interface. And since I will change a lot, I think I'll put it on the top tier of the rack. And currently I'm using the Focusrite Scarlett 18i20, but probably soon it will be replaced with another one, which I will tell about in another video. And if you want to see that, then please click subscribe and the bell button so you know when I will post that video on the new interface that's coming. It's really special and I really like it. And it's really great if you want to work with like outboard gear, but more about it soon. Now let's mount this one in the rack. And now it's time to, well, install the two pieces of gear, which were the main reason why I wanted to go into like a rack unit. Both are by Warm Audio. It are the WA276-E2 and the preamp, the WA273-EQ. And the reason why I chose for these two is because when I was mixing, well, I always love to use like the Waves VEQ3, which is based on like the Neve 1073. And I really loved the D2 compressor style, fat compressor, mainly on every track I was making. I was adding this compressor, so I was like, if I want to have like two pieces of outboard gear, let's start with these two. So now let's install them and connect everything. So I installed all the gear on this side, and yes, there was a reason why I left some spaces open over here. One side, of course, for the ventilation, and maybe some other gear will be added soon. Now let's connect everything, and it will be hard to see because it will be quite dark on the back side, but my routing will be mics into the EQ, then from the EQ straight into the compressor and then into my interface, and I will also add a loop to the line so I can also go through this from like the software side if I got like a final mix or a software synthesizer and I want to pass it through everything, that I can do that. And as soon as I will change my interface, the whole routing will be changed again, but for now this is what I will do. So I finally installed everything. It was a bigger job than I expected it to be because I had this little drawer thing over here, and with that it couldn't fit my rack because this side was too small for with like leg space. So I had to get my Mac Mini into this rig, so it's on the floor right now with all the cables, and I have to do some tidying up stuff, but everything is connected and working, so now it's time to test everything. And if you have any questions about building a rig or about the gear I have in here, please leave a comment down below and ask your questions so I can answer them in another video or reply on your comment down below. And if you also already built a rack, please share your stories. What are you using? What do you have in your rack? And what are you thinking about it? I always love to read all those user stories. And if you're like, well, Ferry, if you made a review about this gear, I want to see it, then please click subscribe down below or over here and click here for videos on which YouTube also thinks that you might find interesting. And then I see you soon in another video. Bye bye.